right, welcome everybody to another episode of Popcorn and Possibilities, where we like to celebrate pop culture and living the dream. We have a special episode here today. It's not just Brian and Steph this time. We have Kyle and Zuzu Weingart here to promote their new movie, Cuisine de l'Apocalypse. So, what's the press tour been like so far and promoting it? How's that going?
It's been a lot of fun. First off, I just want to say I'm very impressed that you pronounced Weingart correctly and Cuisine de l'Apocalypse. So that's great. But it's been a lot of fun. We've been doing, quite a few podcasts, which are always fun to meet new people, especially because we get to talk to people from all over the country, and talk about this ridiculous movie that we put everything into. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been a journey for sure. We did a small theatrical release, did a lot of Q&As, that kind of thing after screening, so that was really fun. And now it's out there for the world to see. So now we're just doing our best to tell the world.
Yeah, yeah. So, it's a post-apocalyptic cooking show. When I first heard the idea, I was like, this is very unique. Like, where did this kind of come about? And what was it like pitching this idea? I imagine there was a lot of nerves running.
It's definitely one of those ideas that you either get or you don't,
Hmm.
there was a lot of people like, a what, but then there's a few people we kind of lightly pitched to just when we were kind of coming up with the concepts, and the there was just some people who attached on so quickly, and they're like, oh my gosh, like we had one gal we had chatted with for a while who started sending us props for the movie, and she hadn't even read the script. She's like, oh, I just know that this would make sense in New Missoula. And I still don't know if they made it in there, to be honest with
They
you.
did. Yeah.
They did. Okay. Well, yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, like a 1970s like Jello mold, Jello jiggler
Oh,
like
Yeah.
cake mold thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely in there at some point.
But yeah, it came about just brainstorming with me, Zuzu, and Nilo Butler, who plays Lando in the film.
okay.
We had worked in a store, like hibachi restaurant together. Me and him were both cooks, and
Oh, okay.
so that's where the spatula flipping comes from. That
I
was,
love that.
um, but yeah, and then we just kind of started conceptualizing what we think would be fun, and it grew a lot. It's changed a lot since its first like iteration of it, and only gotten more wacky, more ridiculous, and we just kind of leaned into that. Once we decided to go full um, Gilligan's Island with it, we really went in that direction and kind of never looked back.
Yeah, I think what I liked was that when you watch these post-apocalyptic movies, you're always like, how do you survive? How do you survive? What do you do? And all this stuff. And I feel like the movie kind of sh gave you almost like a different perspective of these are people surviving in this world, still trying to live a dream. I
Mhm.
just thought that was like a very unique concept and interesting to bring to the
Thank you.
table.
Yeah, one thing we'd been saying that kind of made it into a lot of the iterations of the film was, and it happens really quick in the film, but Chef John says, "We're not just alive, we're living, baby."
Right.
And
I was just gonna quote that, Kyle, because that
yeah,
really resonated with me.
my fault.
Yeah, no, it really was such a fun and creative take on a journey through the apocalypse. And Brian, I don't mean to cut you off, but I had
No,
to
no,
jump
no.
in there because that might have been my favorite line from the whole entire film.
I'm glad you caught it then. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it's definitely not something that you see very often in apocalyptic films. It's usually, yeah, you're right. It's usually about surviving and doing whatever you can to make it through the day, which there's some of that too, but it's a lot of like, what do you do after you've survived? And then day-to-day life in the apocalypse, just trying to be, that's what New Missoula is. It's trying to get back to that everyday life and just the small comforts of living.
Yeah. Yeah. And we were trying to play with the kind of the whole thing where nostalgia without being nostalgia,
Mm,
to where that's where like the Christmas lights come in. And that's where, we always wanted to make a movie that felt like it was basically born in the wrong decade. Like, so this movie should have
okay.
came out in the 90s, which is my favorite era of movies. and but we're gonna make it in the 21st century. Yeah.
Yeah.
We love the 90s too, here on Popcorn and Possibilities. And one of my favorite nods to nostalgia were the transitional scenes that almost look like RPG, old school video game transitional scenes. I thought that was a beautiful little touch in there. I loved it.
Thank you. Yeah, those were a lot of fun. We even actually had a few different transitions that were kind of different styles of video game, but then at the end of the day, we went full side scroll with it. But we had like a racing sequence where we were trying to load off or kind of pull off those old racing games that were terrible, but they were great
Right.
too,
Yeah,
but but yeah, no, those were a lot of fun, and a lot of work.
I'm
Believe
sure.
it. Yeah.
Well, we are big fans of horror and sci-fi here on the podcast, and what I loved is that this had a dark theme without it being so heavy to
Mhm.
watch. So what was your approach to blending sci-fi and post-apocalyptic themes with, lighthearted comedy elements throughout the film?
Well, I feel like it was a big, as I think it's funny because this idea, everyone's like, oh, it's very unique. It's not. Every scene's from a different movie that I grew up loving. That whole haunted forest sequence is Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, like 100%, a direct ripoff, but in her own way.
Right.
But I honestly think Laura, Zuzu's character, was kind of what was key to blending it all together, because there's some characters who, on set, I would describe as like, oh, they hear the music, they're listening to the vibe of the whole place. Laura doesn't get to, and she's kind of the key to tying it all together as far as what an audience might expect and what they've seen in these post-apocalyptic horror films, where she is like, this is so stupid, what the heck's going on here, and everybody else kind of is on the other side, just kind of dancing along. And I don't know, I think that helped quite a bit. Yeah, and then we had an amazing actress to do that with. So
Zuzu, you did a beautiful job of balancing like the comedic elements with the emotional truth of being in a situation like that. Because you had not only like the loss of your father, but that instinct to protect your girls back in New Missoula. So, how did you balance that as an actress while you were going through those scenes with everybody?
Yeah, thank you. It was everybody was having so much fun on set because they lived in this fun world and they had these like crazy characters, and Laura was a downer the whole time. And so I feel like I would come to set and be like, okay, I have to be the downer. I have to do this. But the kids, Minnie and Molly, were played by my own children. So that was that was an easy connection there, of course. And easier to put myself in that situation when it's my own children that I'm thinking about and trying to protect. And so, yeah, it was a very different experience, I think, than the rest of the cast had, because Laura went on this completely different journey through the film. But
That makes sense.
it was cool to be able to tell that story, kind of ground it a little bit.
This isn't obviously the first project that you guys have like worked on together. So what's the balance, or what's it like, trying to balance personal relationship and working on the movie set?
it's its own thing for sure. Uh, we yeah, we've been married for 14 years, and it on set we have a good shorthand for better or worse. But because I'm able to tell her exactly what I want. Um, and when we go home, it's hard though, because we go home, we're like, all right, let's go to bed, and then it's, well, hey, what about this today? I don't know, and then we start like game planning. So when we're in movie mode, our heart rate doesn't go down until we're done filming, because we go home and it's work. And but I don't know, we enjoy it, we make it work, right, honey?
Yeah, I think yes. We have a very good understanding of each other,
Mm.
which is helpful on set for sure. We don't always have to have a conversation about things because we can look at each other and know what the other person is thinking, or what they like, just a nod will do it. So that's helpful, just knowing. I've never worked with a director that I know so well, of course. So it's it's definitely easier in that sense. We do try to, when we get on set, kind of separate, just kind of compartmentalize a little bit with, like, we're in work mode now. We we aren't going to think about what's for dinner and like all of the
Yeah.
other marriage
Right.
stuff that you usually talk
Right.
about, and just try to focus on what we're doing on set.
But sometimes I can tell when Mama needs a hug.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
true.
and that's the only time we break that line where I'm like, yeah, because I'm the only one allowed to give her a hug.
That makes sense. But no, that's great that you're able to strike that balance, because that can be challenging, separating personal relationship, work relationship. My husband and I worked at the same company for many years, and we used to struggle with that. Not obviously in the same way, but it's you have to draw that boundary line. You really do, or else things get, I don't know, you never shut off and you're working all the time, or you're in marriage mode all the time. It can be overwhelming.
I was
Yeah.
not good at it. I met my wife at the job I worked at, and I was the boss, and I was like, "Well, you can't. I need you to organize these shelves." And she's like, "I'm not doing that. You go do it." I'm like, "Fair enough."
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
So you
But
guys had
yeah, I
shot
don't know.
in you
Sorry,
shot
go
in
ahead.
Montana, and I mean all the scenery shots were really really nice. I mean, we
Yeah.
watched the waiting game as well. There was a lot of
Oh,
beautiful
did you?
shots.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
We filmed the waiting game in Zuzu's parents' backyard. Um,
Wow.
Wow.
so that was pretty lucky. But yeah, with Cuisine, we called in every favor that we'd ever mustered in our entire life. We had a little bit of help from everybody. We had friends that we went to high school with coming out and just being like, "Hey, let me help build your town for a day," and
Mm.
yeah, so it was pretty cool to see some of my old buddies coming out and like, I'm like, okay, this is where we need to, this is where the zombie pin is. So and they're like, okay, yeah, zombie pin, got you. And I'm just like, this is so ridiculous. But yeah, we filmed most of it in the Ferroplex Studios. Is it Ferroplex Studios now, Zoo?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
or
think so. Sure.
Ferroplex Studios, and yeah, it
Ferroplex
might be
Production
Ferroplex
Studios.
Productions. Yeah. Anyways,
Okay.
It's an
which is
old
an old,
movie theater.
yeah. So they
Sorry.
Okay.
but they built it in like the 2001, I believe, and so it's a beautiful facility. I mean, it's when you think old movie theater, it's not like something downtown that has like two screens. It had six screens originally, and they were huge, and it was kind of state of the art. They were all digital, but then COVID hit, and they kind of put the kibosh on that and cleared out all the stages, since Montana's starting to have an uptick in productions here. And
Mm.
yeah, cleared out all the auditoriums, and now they're sound stages. So we knew the gentleman there, had actually done a lot of work with him, and we were kind of looking for a location to build the town, and he's like, dude, why don't you just do it here? And we're like, okay. And so yeah, we built the whole place there, and then there was a few other places that were around. Like for Lava Land, we went to a gravel pit, um, and I don't know, like we showed our editor when we were passing by. We're like, oh, there's Lava Land, and he was just kind of like, that little area, and I'm like, yeah. I was like, dude, we only like frame to
Mm.
frame. That's the gravel. Like everything outside of that is trees and woodland. Um,
Mm.
so kind of hiding, which was its own battle too. Especially when you're doing something where you can't just show the real world. That
Right.
was one of our biggest struggles, because then we had like that gas station scene that
Hmm.
where we meet
Right.
Andy, that had cars going by constantly, and people thought we were Yellowstone, even though our crew was 1/25 of the size. And some people are excited, some people aren't, but people were parked across the street trying to get pictures of Kevin Costner, and he wasn't there, you know. Um, but yeah, a lot of our VFX that we had to do besides like the robots and stuff was hiding like set extensions and stuff, and hiding cars that would drive by, and that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was all very probably within a 10-mile radius.
You'd
I love
never know it. It felt so
yeah.
expansive, the world that the characters journey through and were in throughout the length of the movie.
It's what we were going for. I think those video game sequences helped out a lot, actually,
Yeah, just the
to make it feel like,
transitioning.
yeah,
Yeah.
like they were going somewhere.
Yeah.
I loved the salt and vinegar. He traded salt and vinegar
Yes.
for a plain tortilla chip. I love this guy.
That one
I
was,
do.
sorry, go ahead.
No.
No, absolutely, Kyle. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say there's so many things in the script I didn't realize were funny. But like that line, I was watching it with my mom and she just started dying, and I'm like, oh, that's a good line, you know, I guess. But yeah, but it's also Kevin Jack's delivery. He's a genius.
I was going to say his delivery of a lot of things that might not hit as funny. If I said it, for example, he had me dying. Him and Lando really
Yeah, Lando
just
is really
hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Lando, Nilo Butler, is the actor who played Lando. He's hilarious in real life, but he would riff on all of his lines. He would say something different, and I never knew what was coming. He brought all of his suggestions to Kyle beforehand, but I didn't know. So, but there's the sexy spider, when he calls Natasha a sexy spider. I didn't know that was coming, and he like whispered it right into my ear, and it was so hard to keep composure. Yeah, there was always something. He always had a different joke, and it was all funny.
I think Tarancha Ooh La La will stick in my head for the
Yeah.
rest of eternity because I died also when he said it. It's so funny. And Chef John is on point, by the way. Tortilla chip beats salt and vinegar for me
Oh, yeah.
every day of the week.
Yeah.
I would
Lot more.
always go for a straight up tortilla. So talk to us a little bit about how you approached special effects, props, world building, robot, zombies, all of these things. I know there was a lot, that came from the community, you were saying, but what was your approach to kind of building that aspect of the universe?
Well, we had a brilliant production designer. His name's Richard Davenport, and he'd always he was kind of blossoming in the film world. He hadn't done it a whole lot, but he had been such a like community driven guy. He would always do like these big haunted houses that were like huge events, and they had a reputation. So when we first talked to him, I was like, I think this guy can build some cool stuff, And so he kind of came in, and then he had a lot of ideas, He didn't just come in and do exactly what I was like, oh, this is how I see it. He's like, oh, that's cool, but it might be cooler, So a lot of the props came from his brain. And yeah, he just he did a really good job in building that whole town. It was huge. It was a big build. He did it in about a month, and he had a good crew, behind him. But it was kind of going back to what I was saying earlier. A lot of it was just like, well, remember that scene from this movie? This is when they go into Glamperdome in the Lava Land where there's the fight scene. I'm like, this is Thunderdome, this is, but in Gilligan's Island, and we got to make it fun. So I don't know where he got some of those like background props, but like when he came in and he had like so many cool weapons for everybody to have. Like there was one point where Emilio Rivera showed up to play the role of the leader of the Marauders of Lavaland. He just kind of showed up, and we were kind of chatting about the role, and he's like, well, do you have a sword? Can I have a sword? And
I was gonna say, that's a pretty cool sword.
And he runs out and grabs a sword. He's like, I also feel like I need a helmet. And Richard's like, oh, I got one. And it was kind of cool because we did whatever we wanted, he would build for us. And he's just as goofy as I am. So we were able to make a lot of fun stuff. Yeah.
Even the robots were pretty like cool
Yeah.
looking.
Yeah, hardest thing I've ever been a part of. The hardest part about the production was the visual effects aspect of it.
Mhm.
The robot, we just used a mocap, and then a good friend of ours who's just a talented artist in so many ways. His name's Christian Ackerman. He
Mhm.
was actually a mime for many years, which is such a lost
Oh,
art. You don't see
wow.
too many mimes.
Yeah.
Right.
Um, and he had a whole robot routine when he would do his mime thing. And so when we were looking for somebody to be our kind of go-to mocap, performer, there was nobody else. We brought him in, and he gave us so much to work with. The Our guy who was doing all of our VFX in post was just like, dude, this guy gives me such good stuff, and he very, very rarely had to tweak anything from the mocap files. And honestly, anything he had to tweak was either something we didn't get or something that he was like, a new idea we had in post that we're like, oh, what if we did this? Which there was a fair amount of that too. But it was a lot.
Sounds like you had a pretty good team around you,
Yeah.
which is, I'm sure, like a positive, especially how
Oh
stressful
yeah,
the movie
no,
can be. So,
couldn't have done it without everybody else. Yeah, a lot of support.
so what do you like? What are you hoping that audiences like walk away from this movie feeling?
I've been talking forever. Zuzu, why don't you answer that?
Uh, sure. I think, I mean, the big theme of Cuisine is follow your dreams, no matter what. Even at the end of the world, you can still have a dream. I think that's the biggest thing. Is that how am I on point there, Kyle?
Totally. But I'll add something. But I also just wanted, we all like had talked about it from the beginning. We just want everybody to have a good time,
Mhm.
and we love indie films, and there's a lot of great ones out there. Um, but we wanted to set ourselves apart a little bit by just yeah, we have some pretty heavy themes in the film, but at the end of the day, if you don't pick up on any of that and you just enjoyed yourself, we wanted to do that as well and keep it high energy, fast paced, and yeah, a movie that's doesn't realize it's an independent film almost.
Mm.
Yeah.
Zuzu, was there like a scene that was hard, like made you break a lot, like just because it was funny, or?
Oh, um, yeah, everyone. The haunted forest, it's a wide shot, and um, so it was okay that I cracked a smile a couple times, but I could not keep it together when we were walking, and the sun was going down. We had like 2 minutes to get the shot, and it's a wide of us entering the haunted forest, and Nila was just riffing like random things. What did we end up going with? He was like, I don't care what your nana said. That is not lasagna.
So I was
Something like
sitting
that.
down to talk to Stallone,
Yeah, he had, and every time it was something different, and every time it was hilarious, and it was so hard to not to not break. I'm sure if you could up the resolution and zoom in on my face, I cracked a smile a couple times because yeah, it was tough. And just like, oh gosh, when in the camper when Chef John is putting sunscreen on his nose and saying
Mhm.
he's gonna go to California, that was also tricky. And it was a hard thing to get too because he like had really quick had to put sunscreen on his nose and pop back up and his face, like every time he popped back up, it was tricky.
You did a great job. I didn't catch any of the
Yeah.
smiles or the breaking at all.
Oh, good. Thank you. Yeah, I there was probably takes that were unusable because I was like, oh, that was too funny. I can't.
For what it's worth, I walked away from the movie feeling exactly, Zuzu, what you said. It was in a dark time and the end of the world. It was inspirational to really watch somebody not give up on their dream and to continue in that pursuit, even in the most trying of times. And I thought that is what made this movie a standout for me, was that optimistic, positive feeling even in spite of everything that was going on around these characters that you followed. And I got very attached to you guys. I was rooting for you the whole way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yay. Yeah, I'm so glad that came across. I mean, but Kevin Jack is just so lovable. I think it's hard to not. It's yeah. I feel like you gotta root for him by the end of it.
Yeah, I was like, for a second, I was like, I don't think they're gonna end up finding who he thinks he's gonna try to find, and then, so I liked that little twist in there.
Well, it wasn't Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah, true.
That is true. Oh.
So as far as like next steps, like what's next for you guys? Like we're working on any new projects, continuing just like press tour.
Yeah, all of the above.
Yeah.
Yeah, continuing to get to put it out there. We've got a couple things in the works.
Zuzu wrote a feature film that we're filming next year, and she got a film.
Wow.
Yeah, so she's trying not to brag about it, but yeah,
Congrats.
yeah.
That's
Thank you.
amazing.
Yeah,
Congrats.
it'll be fun. It's much different than Cuisine, but it'll be fun.
That's great. All right. So, we're hoping there are listeners out there who are also following their dreams, and we may have aspiring writers, directors, actors, actresses out there. If you could give any advice to those listeners, what would it be?
Um,
Can I go first? Yeah. Go ahead.
sure. I would just say write your story, not everybody, we had our executive producers who were really like, do whatever you want, don't let anybody else tell you what to do. So that was huge for this one, because I feel like if anybody else got involved, they would be like, maybe we play it a little safer. But I think at the end of the day, everybody's got a unique story to tell, and you should tell your story. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say too. But on the acting side of things, it's acting as a profession is very tough. It's hard. It's hard when you're successful. It's hard when you're not successful. It's yeah, it's really hard. But just reminding yourself that you are the only one of you, and you can bringing yourself to the project is the best thing that you can do. And yeah, just stay true to yourself and be you, because that's the best thing that you can do.
I appreciate that. Steph likes to end the show by asking, what's your favorite movie or a movie you would like to recommend?
Sure, I'll go first. My favorite movie is It's a Wonderful Life. I was named after that film. It's my dad's favorite film. And yeah, this time of year too, it's a good time to watch it.
Absolutely.
And I always say Tremors. I just think it's an awesome movie that took itself as serious as you can with that type of idea. And it's just really good. I love it so much. It never gets old. We watch it with our kids. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's too much fun.
Okay.
Love it.
Also, what's the beef with granola bars, man?
It's fun. I've been asked that a lot. Have no problem with granola bars. I do think those Nature Valley ones make a mess. That does drive me crazy.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the granola bar stands for everything that Chef John was against, because it's not about flavor. It's about nutrition. No, he's all about elevating a meal and making an experience, where the granola bar is the opposite of that. But yeah, I really, really hated on the granola bars in this movie. I don't know why I did, but yeah.
Well, we thank you guys for coming on. It was awesome to get to meet you, and we're excited to see where you guys go from here. We'll definitely check out if you ever want to come back. You're welcome anytime. Steph, did you want to add something?
No, I want to echo the sentiment. It was really awesome to see your work in action, and now to have you here with us and chatting with us about this awesome project you've put out into the world. We encourage everybody, check out Cuisine de l'Apocalypse. It's on Amazon Prime, and it is absolutely worth the watch. It's a fantastic ride.
Yeah, so
Well,
keep
thank
your
you guys.
popcorn popping and your possibilities endless. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.